Okay, so I know people are already gonna comment on the juice. Yeah, I know it's there. I get thirsty, okay? But, yeah, this is a video in response to the kind of wisdom. I'm just gonna make this short and sweet, and there's probably gonna be a couple parts to this, but this is the first one that I'll put up right now, because I don't have much time. It's kind of late where I am. So, first of all, when I was talking about domestic violence, I was talking about domestic violence in response to the video response you had made to a comment that I had made within my other video. So if you guys want to follow that, you can do that. Be my guest. And then when I was talking about the increase in female incarceration rates, especially for black women, I was talking about that independently in a sense. Like, yeah, domestic violence rates are included, but I know black women are capable of wrongdoing or crimes that are unjustified. I mean, look at the TV. I'm bombarded with images of that every day, so it's not like I'm that delusional to know that it goes on. But what else was I gonna say? And yes, I'm Canadian by birth, and I live here now. But that doesn't mean I always lived here. I did live in LA. I do know stuff about the States through experience. I've been there, and I've lived there, so I do know. And my opinions are my opinions because of the life experience that I've gained. And even though my life is short, it doesn't mean my opinions are any less valid. In fact, they have become more concrete over the years. So, but what else was I gonna say? So, the biggest thing that I disagree with in your video is the whole relationships are voluntary argument. I mean, I've heard it before, and I used to be one of those people who says, like, why don't they just leave? You can easily just leave. Like, what's the problem? You didn't see the signs? But then think of it this way. You go out for a date, and you think you know somebody, and this person could even be your friend. Freshman year at university, this girl told me about a story about how she was on a date with one of her guy friends, and he put a roofie in her drink. So there's some things you just don't expect, you don't anticipate. And especially early on in a relationship, there's the honeymoon phase, and you think, like, everything's all good, and that's because everybody's being fake with each other, and it's not until later on, as time progresses, that you know what the person is truly like, and by that time it may be too late. Think of the reasons why people might feel compelled to stay. Not necessarily because I kind of felt like you were lecturing me on the definition of oppression. Colonialism, that's oppression. Slavery, that's oppression. The Holocaust, that's... Yeah, I get that. Okay, I'm not stupid. But think about it. What are the things that... What's one of the things that all those things have in common? It's one group asserting their dominance over another group, where one group is powerless and has the inability to leave. So let's think. Why wouldn't some relationship with how could they be deprived of the ability to leave? Let's think. You are deprived of... Well, first of all, this person is attacking you mentally, physically, emotionally. You could be affected financially. You may have children. It's not easy to just pick up and leave if you have children, especially depending on the age of the children. I mean, and if you're dependent on this person financially as well, how can you afford to take 3 or 4 kids out of the house? Now, I'm talking about not all domestic violence cases are the same, and they should all be viewed independently of each other, context by context, situation by situation, and looking at the factors involved. Now, I'm going to give you some possible examples in where these women are not going to have a feasible way of getting out, because right now the picture that you've created in my mind is that it's like 2 teenagers where one partner is saying, oh, you're fat and ugly and nobody will ever love you, I'm the only person who gives you any attention, and I could have anyone who I wanted anyways, why are we even together? That's already like verbal harassment, and you're attacking the person emotionally, their psyche, and that is abuse nonetheless. But yeah, that situation is a bit easier to leave. And also when you're young, you have stronger support networks to people to pick you up when you're down. But think about it. You may be in a new city where you don't have family around you. You usually when you're in an abusive relationship, the abuser has made sure that they've broken out your connection with your broken up your external connections to your support network, to your family, to your friends. You can only talk to this person. You can only see this person. That sort of thing. So, again, it's not that easy. They've already isolated you from the rest of the group. Now, just because it's not physical isolation, like in the case of slavery, doesn't mean it's not isolation nonetheless. And they've already trapped you with the children, so you're stuck in the house. And say, even you don't have kids, but this person has made threats to your life, to your family. They may have a weapon. Look at the slack gun laws in the United States. You can go to Walmart and buy a freaking gun in some states, so there you go. So the person may have a weapon. They have a means of actually doing this, and the way they've been abusing you, the threat is real. So there you go. So you are being forced to stay against your will. I mean, they say if you kill me, or if you leave, I will kill you. Now, think about it. You're also dependent on them financially. Say you're a stay-at-home mom in that kind of situation. Well, how are you going to leave? Hotels aren't free. Women's shelters, they fill up. And you have women who don't even know enough about their bodies to use contraception, or even to how to carry a baby during pregnancy. You really expect them to know the exact address of where a women's shelter is, who they're supposed to talk to. And I know the police are there to help you, but in an ideal world, yeah, they would. They really would. They would actually care about your problems, but some of them don't. Some of them are just power tripping, and they really could care less about your situation. In a lot of cases, there's statistics on this. Women have tried to leave several times their abusers before the point of having to kill them, because they feel there is no way out. So you're mentally, physically, and emotionally trapped by this person. They have psychologically harassed you by threatening your life, threatening your parents. Not to mention they're probably very verbally abusive as well as physically abusive. And then some women may develop Stockholm syndrome, where they are grateful that they weren't beaten 5 times a day with the metal end of the belt. Maybe it was just the back of his hand. Maybe that's good enough for them. Or there's some women who are just so deeply in denial, like, oh my gosh, it's all my fault. I provoked him. He has anger management issues. I should have known. Why did I do that? They blame it on themselves. Look at rape victims. It's not like this doesn't happen, where people who are victims blame themselves. And look at the case of rape, even. Isn't it a similar circumstance? You may go out on a date with somebody intentionally, and all of a sudden somebody takes control of a situation and things escalate to a point where you don't want them to. But would you throw a rapist in jail for killing their abuser? But you're going to throw somebody in jail because this is long term. And then, I don't know. To me, I kind of think it's ridiculous how, or maybe not ridiculous, but just put yourself in the person's shoes. Put yourself into a context where it would be appropriate for a person to be justified in killing their spouse. They don't just do it for nothing because they enjoy killing people. I mean, a lot of these women don't even have records in the first place. And then, when I talk about sending them to jail, well, first of all, when they go to court, especially if you're black, when I was talking about the domestic violence and I brought up the topic of black women first going into male prisons, when prisons were first introduced, they were going into male prisons. Why? Because society viewed them as male, as masculine. Oh, you're this big black woman, you're strong, you're aggressive, you're this independent black women, as they like to throw it out around there. You should be able to handle yourself, to take care of yourself. Why are you in this situation in the first place? There's that bias. Then you go into prison, and you have these guards who ego trip, and they already, you go to jail first before you go to prison, and they talk to you. It's not innocent before proven guilty there. It's, you're guilty. I don't care what anybody says. And then think about it, how degrading it is. Okay, get naked, strip search. They're digging all up in your bum hole trying to find some cocaine or whatever, and they tell you who you're allowed to talk to, when you're allowed to talk to them, when you're allowed to move or leave your room, who you're going to have to share a room with, what time you wake up, what time you go to bed, what time you're going to eat, what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear. There's no freedom there. So you translated one situation to another, and you have all this anger and this resentment, and there's no counseling to begin with. Not to mention you have the guards who take advantage of these women, and they do rape them, because at the end of the day, men are still men, and some people like to abuse their power and attack the weak and the vulnerable. And there you go. So you have these women with this anger and resentment. They've experienced abuse outside in the social world, and they've experienced it in the institutionalized world, and then they come out, they have no tool, they're equipped with no tools to deal with this anger, this resentment, and then you're surprised when they go back to their abusers. It's been ingrained in their psyche that that's all they're good for. I mean, if the people who are supposed to protect you are violating you, then what? So, and then we have a society who's so apathetic and makes excuses that they should have known better. Why didn't they just leave? The statistics, the evidence is out there. They do make an effort to leave. If they don't know how to utilize the resources, if nobody... I don't even know what more to tell you. Because if you can't see it or you don't believe it, you're just not going to, and that's your opinion, and I have to respect it, just like you have to respect the fact that I have my opinion. So I don't know, but like I said, not all relationships are voluntary. You can't just pick up and go whenever you like. Even in a healthy relationship, you at least have to break up with the person. You're not supposed to just leave. I mean, it's common courtesy, but like, I don't know. I don't know what more to tell you. But then there's another topic that I wanted to respond to within that video, but I guess I'll do that another day.